training. They don't necessarily have to study mass communication or journalism. I didn't, for one.
Neither did I.
So they don't necessarily, but once they develop an interest, it's the thing about journalism, as you know, it's a very interesting profession. Actually, I find it the most exciting profession on earth. And once you get lured into it, you can hardly ever, even those of us who have left, always eventually come back. So once somebody has a passion for it, do you understand? And the management and owners are willing to invest in talent, in people they have identified as people with talent and people who have a future, then invest in them. You cannot expect the best if you're not willing to train and develop them.
Right. But one last question. We've got to go on a break. Because when we come back, you're going to show us how women in particular can walk that line, you know, between, you know, who you know, all the other aspects of femaleness, you know, and a profession in journalism. However, it's become like, it was like a big albatross. We were hoping that by the last administration, the Freedom of Information Bill would have been signed, would have been passed. You know, that hasn't happened. Recently, you know, there was like a case in the House where, you know, the House recommended that, you know, conversation, debates, whatsoever on a certain program that had already ended be banned. And you know, the NBC was asked, and the NBC was like, we have told them, and they didn't do it. I know you sense that the NBC seemed to have been like a toothless bulldog in that particular
program
case.
Is this?
You know, this is we're not supposed to talk about it or debate it. So all I can tell you is that somebody is watching and is watching 24 hours.
Okay, I know the program.
You get it now. So
I know the program.
so you get it now. So and what I'm trying to point out of that is that it seems like so many people in the business of the media do not understand the best practices within the media, either print or electronic, and so on and so forth. I would see, for example, if I was a great editor and I've got a bright journalist under me who's got a great report, and somebody saying this report should not go for a particular reason, for me to be able to stand up and say my paper is standing behind this young lady, I think that this is important for the generality of the public, and so on and so forth. How are we going to get to that sort of independent, strong media space?
I think we've already attained that.
I don't agree, Ijeoma.
I think we have, because it's the same.
I do not agree.
No, wait for me. It's the same media that fought tenaciously for this democracy that we have today.
I know. I worked with Temple magazine.
Exactly. You know, so it's the same media that fought for, and you know, and fought alongside politicians. A lot of people in the media were incarcerated. Some even lost their lives. Right. So the media, to a large extent, does have a lot of independence.
I'm not taking that. The Nigerian media is brave, particularly when it comes to a common enemy such as that.
Yes.
In the kind of space we have now, in fact, the enemy is not so clearly defined, and some of it has a lot of money. You know, so I'm talking about a freer, more independent media.
Freer and independent from who?
You know, from all kinds of influences. From all sorts of influence. I mean, maybe this is taking it. Maybe there's to some extent the print media has reached sort of 3/4 of the way, but the electronic media is not.
Electronic media can be a lot more influential, because you're not just talking of print here. You're just talking also visual.
Yeah.
Yes.
And children have access to television. So you have to be very careful as to what you show on television. And there's no electronic media in any part of the world that is left unregulated.
I know. I'm not.
It cannot be left.
I'm not asking for.
But that's why, I mean, for instance, the 24-hour program you're talking about. That's why a lot of people wrote about it and said there was this parental control.
Yeah.
That parents should sit down and block stations they don't want their children to see.
Right.
I would never stand for, you know, taking a program off the air if it's providing some entertainment value. For crying out loud, if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to switch it on or flip your station.
Right.
Do you understand? But don't tell me I cannot watch it because.
But that's the fact.
There's some nudity on it.
That's the fact that yes, the kind of electronic media we have now, you would have been told not to watch it. In fact, maybe next time.
Some of them wrote about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I'm aware that some of them wrote about it, but like it boils down to my first point: culture, religion, the education.
But Ijeoma,
We've lost.
I don't even mind.
It's not static.
In Nigeria, we seem to have regressed, not made progress.
Okay, so but that's the point now. In balancing all of these factors in the pot,
Yeah.
as to decide what can go and what shouldn't go, isn't it therefore very important that you have the most educated, the most rounded people who are not going to be influenced by subtle, who are not going to be unduly, because all of us are influenced to a certain level, but who are not going to be unduly influenced by personal, often unspoken values, and therefore push this forth as what the public wants and hold other people back that way. I could be very specific, but I'm not going to be allowed to.
No, I know. I know that. I know that. I guess it's, I don't know. I guess it's something we'll have to keep an open mind. I don't know what we can do about it, but I guess as more and more members of the public begin to open their minds towards these things, I guess there'll be some changes.
It should go along. All right, I know that's all I can hem you into saying. Really. I'm just venting with some of it. I think that more and more people who are that way must find the resources to own some of those kind of spaces. And what is required to be able to stand up and say, look, this is not. We've got to look at this more holistically. You can't tell me this because this is how you feel. And actually to be able to prove that the reason this person is saying so is because hey, he's got